Alright, so you know what's, a little bit embarrassing right now? I kind of forgot how Minecraft works. It's been forever since I've streamed it. Here, let's get all this stuff. FOV back to normal. Come on. FOV back to normal. I've streamed too much Satisfactory recently, but I forgot that, like, when you're in full screen mode, when you, like, click off Minecraft, it just disappears. So when I went to initially go start the stream, I was like, wait, crap. The game just disappears. I can't just, like, go over to the other thing. So yeah, that's why the very, very beginning of this video is a bit awkward. But yeah, hey everyone, JSTeagle here, and welcome to the actually first live stream I'm doing from Coolcraft Season 7, which I don't know how that's possible. It's closing in on 6 months since we started the season, and this is the first live stream I'm doing. Granted, last season was the first season I didn't live streams in a while, but, you know, things happen. Also, hello, I am once again back here today. Well, I guess for the first time back here today, if you saw the video that I put out earlier today, which you probably didn't, but hey, if you're watching this in the future, I foreshadowed in that video what we were doing today, which is building the great big project here. Now, I did in that video say something, oh, hopefully Jared will, you know, help me build this thing. I have not talked to him at all today. He has not been online on Discord. So, I guess we're a tad bit limited to going and doing the whole thing ourselves. I got all my resources here. I actually feel like I'm not going to need some of this stuff. I think this, no, this one. This shulker box might not be necessary. No, they're all necessary. Crap. See, the problem with this project is that there's so many resources needed for it that it just fill your inventory with shulker boxes and give you, like, almost no room to actually have useful blocks in your inventory. So yeah, that's mildly inconvenient, but let's get out to where we're building. So I actually haven't done anything yet since the... Oh gosh, it's becoming nighttime. Let's sleep before we go off and do anything, shall I? I haven't done anything since I finished the episode the other day. Partially in waiting for the stream, and also partially because I wanted to do other things with my time. Like today, for instance, I was preparing for a test I have tomorrow, and I do not think I'm gonna do well on that test because it's 100% based off theory stuff that I don't think the professor did a good job at, like, teaching at all. And it's, like, based off of 2 slideshows that are, like, 80 slides long each. We do get, like, this 2 pages of notes or whatever. But there's no way I can fit anywhere near enough data. And plus, you know, the slides have whatever they have on them. But, you know, there's also the professor's also a bit tough to understand. So, not that I necessarily got the most value out of it in class, so, like, hopefully it doesn't go too badly. But I have to find a place and time to print it out tomorrow as well. But the printers in, like, the library were down. Yep, don't fly into that. Alright, here we are at the end. Oh yeah, something else I've noticed is, so far when I've been doing things here, my Elytra has gotten a lot of damage. But yeah, I think, yeah, I've already got this set up to a point in here for when we get that going. And also, I think for now, I'm going to just build the tower section here instead of building this section. Yeah, because this section just is a bit more effort to build. There's a lot of different blocks and things they have to build that compared to, this is mostly just red concrete. It's about actually a little over a shulker box of red concrete for the back portion here. So let's just wait a moment as I slowly move the layers down here. There we go. Alright, so put that there, and then I can probably put cobblestone away. Put this shulker box in here so I don't have to worry about it clogging up my inventory. And we get out the red concrete. Probably don't want to actually have that much, you know? We gotta balance inventory space here. 4 ladders, we'll need to replace that real quick. Purple concrete dispensers. Purple concrete. Hoppers, yes, we need hoppers. See, I mean, I probably spent a lot of time doing inventory management when I was in the process of building this. We need redstone dust. And an observer. I somehow have observers in 2 places. I honestly do not know how that happened. I have both have observers here, and like even more observers here. And I don't know entirely how that happened. I don't know if I have significantly more observers than I need or what. Or if I somehow had like observers in this shulker box from something else. Or if I had them in this shulker box from something else. I actually do not know. But yeah, also that I realized after the fact that that pink concrete was actually entirely unnecessary. It was mostly there in the schematic for alignment purposes. So I made sure I aligned this thing to the chunks properly. Because this contraption is, no. It is, well, I don't know if it's directional. I didn't rotate it, but it is definitely, chunk alignment specific, as there's chunk loading and stuff involved. And specifically, we're here designed to be on the edge of loaded chunks. I actually do not know if this is gonna work, but you know, I guess we're a week or so away. Oh yeah, also, while I'm thinking of this right now, a bit of a scheduling update. For anyone that cares about my live stream schedule, there will not be any streams next week. So neither Friday nor Sunday, because Easter and family stuff. So no live streaming, unfortunately. But it would just be more of this probably anyway. I don't know, besides building this, I'm not entirely sure what else I'm going to be streaming for the next couple weeks until summer hits. And then we'll even, summer. The semester ends, that's what I mean. And then even then, I don't even know if I'm going to do live stream over the summer. I hope I do actually stream over the summer this time. The reason I didn't last, well, I mean, besides being at home, the reason I didn't last time was because I was always just too worn out from work. I mean, I was working, 6 days a week, relatively long hours, and, I didn't really have all the most energy when I got home at the end of the day. Hence why I didn't put out very much in videos over the summer anyway. Wait, is my stream live? Or is YouTube just doing that thing again where it's like, oh, I'm being dumb like it did. No, okay, YouTube's doing that thing like it did last week. Or last week. Friday. Like on Friday, YouTube's doing that thing again where for some reason a brief interruption causes it to, or the app to think that the stream has ended for some reason, when it decidedly hasn't. Although I haven't noticed a drop yet. Then again, okay, no, I'm still playing on a server, so I would probably notice a drop. I think. Yeah, because I'm playing on a dedicated server, Minecraft this time, I would still probably notice a drop. Either my game disconnects or, I'm frozen in, well, not necessarily frozen in place, but nothing's responding. Unlike Satisfactory, though, Minecraft has a lot greater, client-side leeway. It's a little bit more trusting of the clients than Satisfactory is, I'd say. I can open the inventory and place blocks. Not that oh, we need more ladders. Not that stuff will properly register. But, it's a little bit more trusting. Now, if we were talking Minecraft Bedrock is too trusting of the clients. Not verifying or checking anything on the server side, in fact. Which is one of the many, many reasons why Minecraft Bedrock is just factually worse than Minecraft Java Edition. Objectively, that's the word I was looking for. Objectively worse than Minecraft Java Edition. So much, in fact, that people who host independent servers for Minecraft Bedrock, to just make the servers a good experience, will actually host Java servers with a mod that allows Bedrock players to connect. It's actually a thing. I've never personally done that because, I don't play Minecraft Bedrock these days much. And it's just weird because, I first okay. The first time I played Minecraft, it was actually Pocket Edition on my neighbor's tablet. Yeah, we ended up buying it for our own, the one tablet that we had in our house that could actually like get stuff from Google Play. We bought it on there as well. Or we eventually got it on there and we were able to play ourselves. But I think if I remember correctly, the reason why we got Minecraft Java Edition is because we wanted to be able to do Redstone. Because back then, you know, a million years ago, there was no Redstone in Bedrock / Pocket Edition at the time. Legacy Console Edition was also another thing, and the reason why we got an Xbox in the end was to, well, be able to do Minecraft Redstone and, you know, play Minecraft with our friends, because our friends had an Xbox. Yeah, probably the only time that I can tell for the foreseeable future that I'm going to technically own a game console. Like, I'm going into this. Obviously, I don't own any real modern gen consoles besides the Switch, which is weird generational stuff. But even then, I'm definitely not getting the Switch 2. Well, I mean, if I get it for Christmas, well, I'm not going to complain. But as is, I don't play console games basically at all. And are you kidding? Not only is the Switch 2 like expensive, and I don't really see too much that I'd want to play on there that wouldn't just be like, okay, Mario Kart. If I'm gonna play that with friends or whatever, they already probably have like the game, so we'll just play co-op like on the couch like you do. Now I will say with the Switch, it was fun to like at like family gatherings or whatever. Everyone just like having their own Switch and being able to play on their own screen for Mario Kart. I specifically remember at like Thanksgiving or whatever at my grandparents' house. Me, my brother, and my cousin all have our own Switches, but we all had like Mario Kart in like a different form factor, I want to say. I think mine was downloaded onto the system's SSD. My brother had the physical cartridge on a Switch Lite, and I do not remember. I think my cousin was either physical cartridge on the full fat Switch or physical cartridge or on his or downloaded to an SD card. I don't remember which one it was. It was one of those two. But it was like interesting to see like the real-time performance differences when loading maps. Like I would always load first because I was loading, you know, full Switch hardware directly off like the SSD, the internal SSD. My brother would always load last because he was on a gosh dang Switch Lite, which had less processing power. And then the I want to say it was game cartridge on the full fat Switch. I want to say was always, you know, middle, as it had to load off an external device, but it still had the processing power to actually keep up with loading. I wonder if they're going to do a Switch Lite type situation for the Switch 2. Regardless, I'm still not buying one, as Nintendo is a garbage company that I do not want to give any money. Especially at these prices. Are you kidding? But yeah, like, especially with seeing a lot of stuff how they're treating people who want to like emulate their games, or people who even slightly dare to touch the copyright of the company. It's like, wow, you are actually the worst. Stop it. Like, this is actually just an abuse of the copyright system to, if I'm being real, you know, silence free speech in some situations. Of course, if they were going to do that, they'd do it in a state that doesn't have an anti-slap law, or I guess federally here in the States. Because they just can. Now, not meaning to get too political here, but we should have federal anti-slap laws, because, well, we just should, because that's the right thing to do. It prevents, you know, the rich from using the legal system to bully less rich people into silence about literally anything. Makes our processes more democratic and also, to some extent, frees up the court systems. Yeah. But yeah, that's that. Oh yeah, hopefully I actually am able to stream at least something over the summer. I don't know what kind of schedule I would have, considering, you know, I don't know what my work schedule would be or anything like that. And obviously would probably have to work work around that. But assuming things are fine, I have tried to put some effort into making the green screen situation at home better. I mean, that's another thing why I didn't like do live streaming over winter break. Actually, was because my green screen setup had basically gotten completely upended. The lights I had used before, well, one of them was already dead, but they both got taken down. I got some new lights or whatever, put those up. I partially put them up. Two of them, I don't entirely remember where I was going to place them, but two of them didn't get put up, and they were kind of essential. So I think what I wanted to do to get one of them to work properly is I wanted to install a new power outlet on the ceiling, which wasn't entirely out of the question, surprisingly. Like, oh yeah, we can do that. You know, it's not hard. You know, you just got to get the outlet. Get the wire spliced into a junction box. Oh, okay, cool, I got that. Sliced into a junction box as there was a wire running through the area where I wanted to put that anyway, and I don't remember what that wire was doing, but I think it did have something to do with like some outlets or something in the area, so it was not even like it's an entirely random breaker. But yeah, that was what I was wanting to do. I never got a chance to do that over winter break. Maybe in the summer, we'll see. But you know, things are gonna go to hell this summer probably. So, dun, 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 dun. Here we go. All right then. Okay. All right. Bum. All right, we are making progress here. I don't like, yeah. When I think I briefly did mention this in the episode today, but I was comparing this project to the industrial rail project from season 5 because truly they are like large at-scale projects that I have done. So I think it is fair to compare them, but I think this is easier to build as it's, at least the tower part of it. It's simple, you know. It's just like pretty flat. I just, you know, place a bunch of blocks here, stuff in, compared to the industrial rail project. I mean, this section out there is slightly more complex, but not that complex. Compared to the industrial rail, where we had some thin lines of cobblestone that had to be built, and then redstone had to be placed on them. And we also had to build the portals beneath that, and oh, that was a pain. Like that project is the sole reason why I didn't upload nearly as much as I wanted to back in season 5. This season, it's because I decided that last season, this season I'm just taking it slower. You know, taking it a little bit more relaxed. Also dreading this project. Maybe things will, after I get what I'm doing with this stuff out of the way, well, it's going to be summertime by then. Who knows if uploads are going to pick up then. But like during the school year last time, I managed to genuinely keep up an upload schedule of 1 video a week. And that was actually impressive for me. I was definitely stressing myself out and pushing myself doing that, which is part of the reason why I was like, okay, I'm not going to do that again. And at the end of the season, when this school year rolled around, you could tell that that's what happened. I also kind of, after the summer, I knew it was kind of going to end soon, but I didn't know when it was going to end for the season, so that's part of the reason why the end of the season fell off like that. But yeah, with this season, I've been not doing, you know, weekly videos. You know, also partially because the fall semester was very stressful on me. This semester hasn't been nearly as bad. I've just been happier to not necessarily focus all my time on doing Minecraft stuff and, you know, leave some time to do some other crap here and there. Actually, a lot of other crap, actually, you know, because I went basically all of February without posting a gosh dang video. I did the Super Bowl thing, and then I kind of fucked off for a couple of weeks doing whatever else. I think I did a lot of Planet Coaster, if I remember correctly. I don't know if I ever talked about this on stream, but I did end up beating this franchise mode, whatever, Planet Coaster 2 story mode thing. I ended up beating that. It was a lot. It was actually a lot of fun to play through. I definitely did enjoy the story mode of Planet Coaster 2 a lot more than what they had in Planet Coaster 1. I mean, there wasn't a story in Planet Coaster 1. It was just, here's park, build stuff. I did think that some of the challenges were potentially a bit too easy on the requirements. Now, I was playing on medium, or I don't know. I know there were like difficulty options, but I don't really think that substantially changes the objectives, just like how the economy works in the game, which is a little bit... I mean, I just felt like the challenges were too easy. Some maps, the challenges were just too easy to complete. Like, oh, what was that one? There was a map where you're given this tiny plot of land. Like, absolutely tiny, and you have to, like, build that plot of land up. It's like there's, like, nowhere to go but up, or something. Or sky's the limit. It might be sky's the limit. And so, I was expecting, okay, they're going to require me to build, like, a ton of stuff on this. In this very small plot, forced me to be very creative in how I build it in multi-layer parks like you do in, like, Roller Coaster Tycoon when you're building like a crazy like big theme park on like a scenario or whatever. But in the end, it really wasn't that bad. I didn't need to build any additional levels at all. I managed to pack everything into that small space very good, and I even like wasted a lot of space in the center for a ridiculously large staff area that was unnecessary because again, I thought the challenge was going to be significantly I thought the challenge was going to be significantly harder. Like, there's going to be a lot more stuff. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to need like, a lot of staff. I'll build a big staff area to start with. I also wasted like all my starter money on that when I started like spamming in decorations to make it look nice. And it's like, oh wait, crap, I'm out of money. After that, I also wasted a decent amount of space building a small water park next to it. And I still managed to fit in everything needed for the objectives in that space. So, like, the challenges could have been harder. There is one that I think was actually very challenging to, like, beat, or was challenging enough at least how it set up and how I did it, I think, wasn't too easy. I was stressing the whole time, but I managed to cheese the one scenario, because it's the one scenario where you just can't make money at all. You get the map, you get your starting money, every time you complete one of the tiers, you get money. But that's it. You can't make money from guests at all. Thankfully, you don't actually have any expenses, so spam away all the staff and entertainers. But, like, that one was really, like, because when I first went and I just started, like, building some stuff, I was like, oh, we'll build a water park over here, and then I was like, wait, I'm not getting any money. Wait, why am I not getting any money? It's not going up or down. And then I had to, like, literally Google, and I was like, oh, yeah, no, you just don't get more money in this situation, so you gotta be very, like, you know, you gotta, like, conserve what you got. So I ended up, like, restarting it and going, like, as cheapo as possible in that scenario. And I actually managed to complete it with a fair amount of money in the bank still. Because I was cheesing everything, and it was like, put down have 7 flat rides, okay? 7 of the cheapest flat rides it is. Decorate your park. Alright, if you say so, here is the cheapest decoration I can spam everywhere. And then actually for a while, I was just waiting for my park reputation to slowly tick up. Because there's nothing you can really do to immediately affect that. It just slowly changes over time. So I was just waiting for it to tick up point by point to get, I think it was the park rating by the end of that one. I don't entirely remember. Oh yeah, then there was another one. Proving that I played the story mode of Planet Coaster 2. There was another park, a Viking-themed park. I don't remember the name of it. There was a bug on this map where you could literally just build outside the bounds of the actual map. Now, if there was a plot of land that you hadn't purchased, you couldn't build there. But if it was an area that wasn't inside of a plot but was completely outside the area where you were supposed to be able to build, you could just build there. Like, some of the trees out there you could also modify, sell, move. And then there was a bunch of trees that you couldn't select at all. It was fun. So I built a log flume that spanned the outside bounds of the entire park. I also built a gigantic hybrid train coaster that basically existed entirely outside the park on the nearby hillside. The ride itself turned out really well, but because the game has this stupid guest like fear of heights, and no one was riding it. or very few people wrote it because of the stupid guest here. Like, that's the thing that I actually like don't like about Planet Coaster 2, and you can't even turn this off in Sandbox. Even if like guest preferences or guest intensity preferences or whatever are turned off in Sandbox mode, like guests still won't ride an 800-foot tall coaster because it's too tall. Like, that's complete BS. Like, an 800-foot coaster, people would come from all ends of the earth to ride that. Like, well, it's assuming it's not located someplace like North Korea, that is. But you get the idea. In real life, exceedingly tall roller coasters are a big draw for people, but in Planet Coaster 2, no one rides them. At all. There's also something that I think I've just noticed over time while trying to do things. There are like secret stats that make people afraid of coasters, which I think is mostly G-force, because you could have a fear rating that is in the green, but no one's going to ride your coaster because they all say it's too scary. If you check on guest preferences, it's entirely green for every guest being like, yeah, I'm not afraid of this coaster because of height, speed, or whatever. But it's too intense for me. You're too scary. Which makes no sense. And I'm thinking that's because it pulls significant extreme G-forces. I'm not entirely sure. I haven't directly tested this. Maybe I should. But it's very annoying. And this stuff even persists in Sandbox when you have like the guests, when you have the specific things, for guests just turned off. Very sad. Yeah, then there's also the guest limits that they are annoyingly low. Like by default, 6,000. Just all career mode maps and all franchise mode maps, and then all Sandbox maps by default are limited to 6,000 people. Now in Sandbox mode, you can make this limit up to 12,000, which does really help with putting people in your park. So you have a bunch of rides in your park. The 6,000 guest limit, and by the way, it's going to spread out the number of guests you get over like the star rating. So if you have a 12,000 guest limit, you're going to get a lot more guests at 3 stars than you would a 6,000 guest limit. But with the 6,000 guest limit, your park just doesn't fill out with the guests. You'll have a bunch of rides, but then there's going to be no one ever in line for them because there's not enough people to occupy those spaces in the park. It's kind of annoying. So at some point, there's no point to expanding your park, building more attractions, building bigger things, because no one's going to visit your park. No one is going to ride the new things that you build because the guest cap just doesn't allow for more people to visit. And I'm not entirely sure if there was a guest cap at Planet Coaster 1, but if there wasn't, well, the only reason that I could imagine we have a guest cap at Planet Coaster 2, besides consoles, but you can do something different for consoles. But I think they used, programming wise here, they just used a data structure, like just a normal array that is not dynamically resizable to hold all the park attendees. It just feels weird that they did that. Especially like for PC, just let us it's like the oversight from like the Frontier Workshop, where on PC or when the game first launched, they had the limit or the content download limit on the Frontier Workshop, which obviously it makes sense for consoles because storage is rather limited on a console, and a game can only take up so much additional space from user generated content, complexity limits and all. But for some reason they decided to apply that to PC right away, which doesn't make sense. On PC, you should, and they eventually changed it to work like this. You should just be able to download as much as you want until your drive is full. Like, it is actually better if that's the way it works. Because PC is the best platform. Another reason why I don't want the Switch 2 or whatever, because PC is the best platform. I basically only play PC games at this point because, again, PC is the best platform. Literally the best experience. Do I have the most powerful computer? No. But do I have a good enough computer? Yes. And can I play basically any game I want to on my computer? Also, yes. I'm not limited to just the games that are released for this or that I specifically bought for this box. I can play basically any game since the history of computers started. Well, that's not entirely true. Any game since Windows XP, basically. Any 32-bit Windows executable application should probably work. Now, there are obviously exceptions to that. If you wrote your thing poorly, assuming that the fucking clock speed of the computer would never increase, honestly, that's a problem, and you should never have done that. Because I mean that's the thing, like why like certain programs from like the early to mid 90s are not really possible to move to modern stuff, because that was before those programs were written before multitasking operating systems were really a thing that people used. So you would be able to safely assume that your program was the only thing running on the CPU, and therefore you could count CPU cycles. Because also back in the day, there wasn't wide variety in CPUs and how fast they were. There was like there was like the 8086, maybe the 286 and 386, but those all had the 8086 compatibility mode that all ran at the same speed. But then, you know, multitasking operating systems started to be a thing, and now you don't know for how long your program is going to be executing before the operating system says, hang on a second, I need to do something else real quick, and interrupts you. And you don't know how long it's going to be, so counting CPU cycles no longer becomes a viable method for actually, you know, doing stuff. Now, in modern computers, that's still not the case. Even with multi-core operating systems, yes, it's actually better. You know, like the operating system doesn't necessarily have to interrupt your program to do something else. It can use a different thread on the CPU. Oh, hey, we're almost done with this one. But then again, there's more than just Minecraft and OBS running on my computer right now. Crap, that one actually did go into the hopper. Yeah, there's a lot more than that running. You know, there's a million different background tasks that Windows has, other user programs that are happening to be running in the background, and the Chrome's open. So there's another thing. There's a lot of processes there. So it still does have to context switch. Now, Minecraft itself, considering Windows could probably see Minecraft as a relatively heavy user of computer resources, so it might be like, okay, we'll not put all the system processes on this core and do that less interruption, but it's still being interrupted all the time, many, many, many times per second. Where the heck is this one? Yeah, this one. Just take all of that. Yeah, it's still being interrupted many times per second. Just switch tasks or whatever. What am I talking about again? I do not remember how I got on to this random speak here. But yeah, right, compatibility. But yeah, and also, unlike Linux, I'll actually take a stab at Linux here. Windows computers could actually still run things from the early 2000s. Again, assuming they were written correctly, written in a good, reliable way. Because actually, I recently was learning about this. It's not just because Linux technically has the philosophy of an update shouldn't break a user space program or whatever. Because at that point, it's, you know, if there's a behavior that is relied on by the client, then it's not a bug, it's a feature or whatever. The problem there being something that I guess is maybe relied on is the fact that things are or can be a bit inconsistent Linux-wise. And so if you're wondering, why was this program that's written for a slightly older version of Linux not running on my modern Linux system? It's because Linux doesn't have a dynamic general library. So there's, I believe, the core C library, which is a single monolithic, dynamically linked binary object on Linux. It's basically used by all programs, but it's not necessarily internally consistent, and programs are compiled for specific versions of this standard C library on Linux, which means if your system has a newer version, older programs might not run correctly. Oh, I didn't put the purple concrete in. You might not run correctly. which in my opinion is a massive problem. Now, Windows has solved this problem a long time ago by just letting programs reference whatever version of, well, first of all, not having one giant monolithic C library. Windows fragments it all over the place. And, you know, and Windows also doesn't have direct, also doesn't open direct system calls up to the programmers. Instead, what Windows does is they just provide the Windows API, which, you know, it will eventually do a system call in some ways. But the point of the Windows API is that it allows Microsoft to just be able to change what the underlying system calls are and how they behave at any point without breaking programs, which is good. But yeah, I believe one of the ways that we're getting close to the... Where did I just place that? People are being loud outside. Yeah, I mean, one of the ways I think Microsoft solved the whole every program needs a different version of the standard libraries thing is also just a way that they solved another issue that was like a very prominent issue back in the day, I believe. It was like back in the, because, you know, there's a lot of fairly standard DLLs that might have many different versions out there. And each program wants their own version of that DLL. Okay, that's, you know, fine, whatever. But back in the day, programs would, because a program needs a specific version, it would install its own version of that DLL, potentially overwriting the version of that DLL that already existed, but was used for another program. This was apparently such a prominent issue that Microsoft did something about it. What they did was they basically allowed multiple versions of a single DLL to be overlaid on the same file. So each program could, you know, install whatever version they need without messing with what another program needs. And then they'd all be happy together forever in DLL land without, you know, breaking anything. And I think a similar technology to that, or if not the exact same thing, is used to allow backwards compatibility of core system libraries. Yeah, great example of how that's one of the biggest ways that that Windows is actually superior to Linux on the ridiculously extreme. Like, another example of how extreme Microsoft is to, or how extremely devoted Microsoft is to making Windows programs work forever and ever and ever, backwards compatibility to the infinite degree, is Windows still doesn't let you do things that correspond to ancient hardware that existed on computers in the 90s, but no computers had for the last 15 years. Like, like back in the DOS days, there were features built in that allowed you to write to like the serial port or whatever by just writing to a file with a particular name in any directory. So, I mean, you can't just make a file name. So, obviously, the file system didn't let you make a file that was just named whatever those reserved words are, because, you know, that would be data directly sent to this. Oh, right, I emptied this shulker box completely. I need to go all the way back to get more red concrete. Fun. Actually, I will take this shulker box with me. Let's not litter, shall we? But yeah, so the fun thing is in modern Windows 11, you still cannot name files those reserved words. I think com is one of them. Because some program might rely on that functionality from DOS. It's not even the same kernel anymore. But in the slim possibility that something might rely on that functionality, it cannot be changed. There is another example. I believe back in, I don't know, the early 2000s, there was a bug in Excel with how it like calculated leap days or something like that. Obviously something that should be fixed, but no. Because it's possible that someone made something in Excel, some scripted thing, or script type thing, that relied on that behavior, they cannot change it. They cannot fix that bug because it existed for too long and it could cause potential issues. That is how ridiculously dedicated they are to making sure things still work years later. Alright. I don't think I would personally be that dedicated to backwards compatibility, but it makes the platform nice to use because it means that, you know, old programs will still probably work just fine, unless, of course, they require online services that shut down, and Microsoft can't do anything to, you know, help that. But unless they're the ones who shut down the online service. Whoops. But that's more of a general software development practices issue. But hey, you rest assured, the programs that I am personally in charge of full development of, with no one else telling me what to do, will not have any requirements for online services that aren't potentially like, well, I'm not gonna necessarily no online services, but no like, oh, hey, we're at the top. No proprietary online services is what I mean. Because there is a chance, like with actually kind of what my game right now does, which relying on the existence of GitHub for like storing or for, you know, retrieving like potentially updated information. Hey, we're at the top here. We just got one last little thing to do. Where is the shulker box? It's the magenta shulker box. I don't know why I keep forgetting the color of this. Need that and that. And we'll use red concrete here because I happen to have this in my inventory. We'll pick all the red concrete up off the ground later. As I mentioned in my video, this leaf structure here is actually, well, it's designed to have a pig in it. I need to get some pigs over here and get breeding them, I realize. And surprisingly, if you leash a pig to, say, this fence post and then put them over there, they will willingly just stand on top of this block forever and just not move. It is actually a surprising behavior, but apparently that's what happens. Okay. Alright, and then we are basically ready here. I gotta wait for that concrete to come back up. We're gonna put all the stuff away in shulker boxes. We are about ready to, oh, frick. Major deja vu moment right now for some reason. Not very strong one actually, but still I vaguely remember that what just happened happening. Like with the fences and the leaves and so weird. Anyhow, we're about ready to get the shulker boxes put in. So let me just put all the junk back in the shulkers where they came from. I believe that came from there, and then just redstone. Anything else? No? Alright. I mean, it's not a big deal if we lose a couple red concrete. We do have a lot, and I do think we have a fair amount extra, but still, I'd prefer not to... Oh, well, I guess... Guess I didn't put the purple concrete away. Oh well. Actually, so before I go do anything else, I'm gonna quickly take a leak. So I will be right back. Alright then, let's get those shulker boxes from the main storage. Main storage, I mean the snowball storage, which is, you know, ridiculously far away. But hey, we can take the minecarts back. Slash will, because, I mean, if you look at my inventory right now, yeah, taking several trips back and forth with full inventories of shulker boxes is not ideal. Not ideal at all. Which is why we have the train tracks. It's actually a significantly more effective way to... Oh, I also need to go sleep, apparently. It's a very effective way to get all the shulker boxes there, because as is, I still have to go up and down the tower a fair few times collecting more shulker boxes. Imagine if each one of those trips was all the way back to here. If it was like some of the nearby ones, that wouldn't be too bad, but... Because it's not one of the nearby ones, that would take ages. It would take ages just to put in the shulker boxes. But yeah. Ooh. Oh, I was like, wait, why did I just hear a minecart? Because there are minecarts collecting stuff under there. But yeah, here's the minecart. I put some more chests here in case it would be necessary. Here's that shulker box that had a boat in it and somehow got broken. I still don't know how that ended up here. I hope that nothing else like that has made its way into the system. But yeah, these minecarts should all be loaded and ready to go. So, I actually haven't tested this with all the minecarts yet. So, let's see. Send them all. Yeah, I gave the player some extra space there because I felt when I was loud. Minecart sounds loud. What is it? Friendly creatures? Okay, put that down to that for now. When I was testing this with, I was using hopper minecarts because they had less inventory slots for me to fill, to get a full cart. But when I was testing this, the player just went so much just dispatched faster, got real close to the last minecart there. So I was like, that's not good. I'll give them a bit more space so the player can be this far behind them, and hopefully not bump into any of them, because these things, thankfully, usefully needed to be this far apart so they don't bump into each other and cause problems. It's also not a particularly complex system. They're just going down this rail. They're all going to drop into a hole. Player's gonna be right here to keep them loaded the entire time. But yeah, it still could have been a potential challenge. I wonder what happened to the minecart tests or experimental minecart changes. I know they're still there, but like, have they just like given up on them? Are they still doing them? Are they planning stuff for them in the background? What's going on with them? Also, the villager trade rebalance. That is still an experiment. Like 2 years later. 2 years? A year later? I don't know. I remember at the start of season 6, we were like being like, oh, okay, so that might come. Okay, so that's probably going to come in an update soon. Okay, so this is how we like get those various villagers. And I was like, well, we still have the 1.14 villager system. I guess, like, we just keep doing what we're doing. I do think that my biggest issue with the villager trade rebalance stuff is that you can't get all the enchanted books from villagers anymore. I think that's a big, okay, maybe you just, like, maybe add some more villager varieties or add more various books to villagers. I do think it's a good idea to limit how much each villager could have. It way reduces the grind for getting specific enchants, but I think all enchants should be achievable via villagers. At least that's my opinion. Some others might not agree, but then they're free to not use the villagers. Alright, let's turn the volume back up to 100% on this. Alright, we've landed on top. Why did I take fall damage? I'm not physically touching something, am I? We're not physically landed on something. Let's see, I don't want to nudge this tower like I did last time. Can I just, like, ender pearl out? Bam. Yes, I can. And now I'm in the wall, but that's less of an issue. Alright. Now I will drop basically all of my stuff apart from food. Yeah, let's leave the rockets out of this. Basically everything in this chest. Hopefully I don't die. That'd be very annoying. Anyhow. Let's do one full... Actually, no, here. Well, whatever. One full inventory's worth at a time. The first layer... Got caught on that block there. That's embarrassing. The first layer is actually the easiest because there's nothing in our way. The second layer, not all that hard because I can walk down here. To get around this, but after that, I have to actually go under that. It is a little bit annoying to do so. How are we? Okay, we only got 3 left. But a full inventory is going to be better. Yeah, I have to like use the elytra to get under that. I don't have the inventory, you know. I don't think it'd be a good idea to waste inventory space on, you know, other methods to get under there, like a trapdoor, for instance. Yeah, something we could quickly do, you know, just run all over all these, make sure they all actually have snowballs in them. Also, I don't think I said this on camera in the episode today, but what I'm planning to do with this is, what I'm probably planning to do to make sure that everything is stocked correctly. So once we've built each and every one of these modules, I'm going to go back to each module remove all the shulker boxes, and then put fresh shulker boxes of snowballs in each place, making sure that, of course, we have nothing but full shulker boxes ready for this project to go up. That's going to be a bit of a chore in and of itself, but it wouldn't take too long to go back through and do it. And we're just going to let this be clear. These shulker boxes I'm placing right now, they'll be broken and they'll just be left to despawn. They got no life after this. It is easier, way easier, to just completely let these shulker boxes, completely be despawned, completely be deleted, than to collect them all and either refill them or empty them and repurpose them. I don't need this many shulker boxes for anything else, I don't think. Just this. And I planned for this. Part of the number of shulker boxes that or part of the size of the storage system at the snow farm. I mean, maybe it's a bit oversized actually, but part of that size was planning to not only be able to place in all the shulker boxes for all these as is, but then also destroy and replace them all. Now, I think I've gotten enough, like, you know, shulker box supplies in there where it's gonna just end up being, you know, where the storage is just gonna remain full. I don't think we're gonna run out of shulker box materials. We might though. But, you know, we're not gonna be building all this fast enough, at least, you know, building it. Maybe when we're placing down all the shulker boxes, or when we're replacing the shulker boxes, we'll be consuming shulkers fast enough to not, or to actually make the storage not entirely refill before we need it again. But, you know, that's why we have a snow factory, so that we just don't have to worry about the snow. And then the snow is just there and for any future time in the season when we need a ridiculous amount of snow. I've tried to hopefully keep it far enough away from this, where we won't have to, like, have this apparatus interfere with the use of that snow factor. I wanted it to be close enough that it, you know, that we could, you know, realistically transport these shulker boxes here, but also far enough away where we can, you know, physically make them separate contraptions that can be used independently. I'm gonna have to probably, before I make use of this machine, put up a big thing that's like, stop, do not go this way, do not use any of these nether portals that are gonna be in here. It will not go well for you. Probably, at least. Come on, let me through. There we go. All right. Alright, let's see. Things to talk about. Things to talk about on stream. Ooh, I'm out of shulker boxes exactly. Let's go. Yeah, this is a very smooth process to put these things in like this. Alright. Dang. It's been a long time since I've done a Minecraft. Well, okay, the last Minecraft stream was in December, but the last, Coolcraft stream was... wait, was that actually almost a year ago? Close to a year ago, I guess, because, like... I mean, man... Because I know the very last stream I did in the, like, good enough. The very last stream I did in 2020, or in the spring semester for 2024, was a game development stream, but I don't remember if I'd streamed Minecraft before that. Or streamed Coolcraft before that. I don't think I streamed Coolcraft before Satisfactory 1, or, in the fall before Satisfactory 1.0 came out. I don't think I was streaming Minecraft at that point. Come on, there we go. Did I this is the one way to find out. Okay. I gotta remember when I do that. Come on. Okay. There you got it. Yeah, I know I did like one. Okay. I know I did a Minecraft stream trying to get a wither cage down. Because what design I had been using was not working anymore, but turns out I was just... all I needed to do was move that down, apparently. But yeah, then I haven't... Besides that one Minecraft stream I did, like, in December, I haven't done anything but Satisfactory since Satisfactory 1.0 came out. Which, it's cool. But now that I'm finished with the game, I don't really have a reason to stream that besides maybe going for all the rest of the achievements or whatever. I mean, while, like, the game ending, it did say, oh, you still have your responsibilities to fix us, to exploit and optimize this planet and be efficient and whatever. To me, once you've completed the story, I mean, the whole purpose of you don't really have much to do. It's not like it gives you, like, random, like, if they had, like, an endless mode in Satisfactory, where the space elevator, maybe project parts, maybe something else, just started asking for random things that you had to start feeding it, and then it'd give you some, like, small reward or something like that. I think that would be cool. That would, potentially keep me playing. It gives you a meaningless level or something like that, like, oh, you've completed this many extra things. I mean, I don't think it'd keep me playing for that long, but it would definitely, like, allow for some sort of content to exist post endgame. Mind you, we were starting to strain the resources available on the map. Now it's not to say that we didn't have a large number of potentially available resources, but there were certain resources like Sam that. Oh, dang it. Yeah, there were certain resources, like Sam, that were, like, starting to become quite scarce on the map towards the end there. Ah, this one's only got 3 snowballs in the end of it! Ah! Okay, that's a defect. I don't know how that happened, honestly. It's like, what? That's so close. How did that... Okay, whatever. Actually, no, that doesn't matter. Because we're gonna remove all these shulker boxes and replace them anyway. That doesn't matter. What do you know? What do you know? But yeah. And also, actually, something I might consider going back and doing a stream for is trying to finally get the nuclear power plant to actually run at its full rated capacity. Because I totally blame the trains for this, by the way. The trains are definitely the reason why I wasn't able to get that full, like, capacity going. Because despite the fact that everything, and I mean everything, technically was spec'd properly to have the exact number of resources coming in, actually more than enough resources coming in, the existence of the trains and how they work and the sheer number of resources that we needed, and just basically entirely prevented the exact number of resources from always being available. Simply put, we, per train car, were needing too many resources. So the way I'd probably fix this in a future playthrough is I'd increase the number of train cars per train, and I'd significantly reduce the amount of the belt speed that was demanded of each train car, because that is definitely a way to mean that you don't have to run your trains nearly as frequently, and make sure that the potential delay between trains running is not nearly as catastrophic if there's a delay. Or another thing we could do. Oh wait, dang it! I still have one more. Or another thing is, because I found out from JRD Cool that you can tell a train, oh, make sure you wait here for 2 minutes or whatever. We could set up automated unbunching systems where basically there's a station on the loop that the train always has to wait up for 2 minutes, or whatever the interval between trains is supposed to be. Okay, there we go. That would be a great idea, but that also means you'll need to have one extra train on the track, as there's always going to be basically one train stopped at that station, and the next train should arrive right as the last train is leaving, if the system is running properly, meaning that there's an exact interval of that much in between trains. Theoretically it would work. Also, another thing is, like, we were starting to really push the limits of the game at the end there, because I know I mentioned it last week on Sunday, but the game's TPS was reportedly starting to drop according to the dedicated server. Now, that was also partially due to memory leaks. After rebooting the server, the game came back, or the frame rate, or the tick rate came back after restarting the server. So I'm entirely sure that that was down to the server just being, the server, not having been restarted in a while. Because here's the thing about the game: the dedicated server will the first day of the dedicated server running, it will restart at midnight local time. Restart. I think it's a soft restart, because it doesn't fully go okay, tear down all the objects, all the data structures, everything. Oh, just look at that to see. Okay, it doesn't completely go, all right, we're going everything back to main, everything's deleted, we're making sure everything's gone and effectively resetting. It's not that kind of a hard restart. Oh, I can't access that minecart. Well, just that. Here we go. Last one full of snowballs. Didn't mean to put that back in there. Yeah, I don't think it did a full engine restart or whatever, because I think Unreal Engine does have garbage collection in it, or Unreal Engine does provide a garbage collector, which is part of the reason for there is an actual complexity limit in Unreal Engine, because they have a certain number of there is a maximum number of objects in Unreal Engine, or the garbage collector in Unreal Engine. It's not a actually good garbage collector, to be fair, because there's a limited number of objects that it can track at once. It's called the U object limit, and people who like to do decoration in Satisfactory will often hit this limit because, well, they have a crap ton of objects placed, or a crap ton of things that have U objects placed into the world. Now, I understand that it's not necessarily possible to go without U objects entirely. Okay, we only have 3 extra shulker bucks. That's good. Good. Just purely because when you're doing certain things, they definitely need to be U objects. But if you have internal data structures, those do not need to be U objects. And if you're good about memory management, you really do not need to make anything that you're actually building yourself a U object. So I would heavily suggest game developers, reduce the number of U objects, because you can do your own memory management. Combining, ooh, perfect. This one is done. I'm gonna build that later, as I said. An hour. It took us an hour. That is annoyingly what it felt like for the last one. Takes an hour. But yeah, because of the garbage collector, you might be a little bit careless with your memory, which causes memory leaks. Where, especially garbage collector land, that you have, objects that like kind of reference themselves. They exist in collections, but they're not actually being used, causing you to do more iterations than necessary. Minecraft often suffers from this problem. All right. Actually, I don't think any of my shulker boxes are completely empty here. Okay. First thing we do when we reload these minecarts is we take any excess shulker boxes and then just place them in these chests here. Then we place the regular minecart over this way. Then we simply go by and place down the minecart chests in each one of these bays here. They will be automatically reloaded. Probably by the time I'm done speaking, let's be real, there's not that many slots for shulker boxes to go on these things. Here, now this system's going to kick into action as we've started pulling shulker boxes out, but that is okay. I don't think there's anything else I need from here. Let's reorganize my inventory a little bit. Let's get away from that though, because that's kind of loud. Now, onward to the very next... Wait, hang on, did I? No, okay. You don't need that many ladders for each one. Oh yeah, I did modify this design. Like, I got this from someone else. I don't remember who. I had to join a goddamn Discord server to get these world downloads. I fucking hate that trend in modern YouTube, or... yeah, modern YouTube or whatever. Like, instead of just pasting a link to Mediafire or something in the description where you can get the world download, no, you gotta join their fucking Discord server and search through the fucking channels to find the actual world download. It actually did take me forever, I want to say, to get this world download, if I remember correctly, because I couldn't find it. I eventually did find it in the Discord server. I had to, like, scroll forever, search for world download. It's awful. Like, and I've seen for other things, like, people get like, no, I don't want to join your Discord. I just want to download the goddamn world of this thing. Provide me a Mediafire, Google Drive, something like that link. I don't want to join your goddamn Discord server. If I do, I'm not sticking around. Why don't you just put it in that chest? This goes in the ender chest. Oh, I built this one quite a ways away from the tower here. Oh well. Anyhow, that's that little thing out of the way. That little rant out of the way there. Oh, we could rant about a bunch of other things. There's a lot going on. Once again, spent 7 years getting my inventory sorted. It's raining, that's great. I have actual physical rain turned off because it messes with the video quality a lot, which is very annoying. That's why I have rain particles turned off. And why I sometimes don't realize it's raining. I need observers. And ladders, crap. Okay, I need to put one of these concrete stacks back. Observers are in magenta. I'm pulling them from the magenta. I, for some reason, have 2 shulker boxes with observers in them. I don't know how to get. I don't think anything else there is actually necessary. And then ladders. Pull down the schematic. All right. I don't think I can hold it, right? Nah, you can't hold it, dang it. I kind of understand that. Key repeat is a good idea to have that disabled during actual game. Actually, I guess key repeat isn't technically disabled during Minecraft gameplay. I know in my game, when I went and, made key repeat a thing for text fields, I had to actually disable it during gameplay because it was somehow messing with the input functions. I don't understand how, but it was. It made playing very annoying because you just randomly stop. I wouldn't think it would make a difference, especially because before I switched to a 3D renderer, it didn't make a difference, but I've done my best to make key repeat available where text input is necessary and not have it enabled when text input is not necessary. It does make a world of difference to text entry, I will say, especially when backspace is involved. Because when backspace is involved, or you need to delete a whole line, not having to rapidly spam backspace instead of just being able to hold it, so freaking so good, so freaking good. Place that there. Ladder. Okay, I don't know how long I want to do streaming for today. We could say a couple hours, probably. 2, maybe more. Two, maybe more hours. We'll see. See if I'm too hungry by that point. Because the weather over this past week has been nuts. Cold, ridiculously cold. Like I think it was actually snow flurrying like earlier this week, and today it was quite warm. So you know it's getting to be that time of the year. Temperatures fluctuating wildly, but it's on an upward trend. It's almost May. I say almost May. It's like what? Today is the 13th. Yeah. Almost halfway through April, gosh dang it. Easter is next weekend. Late as hell Easter this year. I'm pretty sure that, yeah, because no, the eclipse was like either about to be a year ago or last week it was a year ago. I have a shirt that has the date of the eclipse on it. I could actually, you know, here, after I finish this later, I'm going to go find that shirt. It's in my laundry, I know that. I think I know that. I'll check not the laundry first, actually, because there's only one shirt there. And yeah, Easter was before the eclipse, because like, I remember, oh, I'm out of letters. Okay, here, let me go see if I can find that shirt quickly. Show me the shirt. It's not. Yeah, okay. I wore it this week at some point. Okay. Show me the shirt. It's not that one. Digging deeper in the laundry. There it is. Right. When does this thing say the eclipse was? April 8th. Oh yeah, no, that was a hot second ago. Easter is very late this year, because I remember Easter was before the eclipse, because I went home for Easter, you know, as usual, family celebration stuff, and then instead of having our roommate drive us back like we did before, he drove us home. Instead of that, we drove back ourselves. Our parents lent us the car for the next week or so. Wait, was that what happened? I think that is what happened though. Or did May? Oh gosh, now I'm confused about the order of events. Yeah, I think they let us just drive the car back for the remainder of the semester. I think I want to say that's what happened. Then we went out for the eclipse. We drove out on our own to where we were seeing the eclipse, which was, you know, with our grandfather. Nice experience. Cloud cover was heavy, but nice experience. And then we, the day of the eclipse, we drove back here. Charity technically had a, like, 4 p.m. class or whatever. I think the class was canceled, though. Or he just skipped it. I don't remember what happened. I had a class in the morning, and the professor was just like, I'm not holding class today. Look at the slides I posted, or whatever. To be fair, it was, like, a physics class, and the professor also teaches an astronomy course here, so, like, I mean, he was going out to see the eclipse. I was fully prepared to skip that class, though. Just be like, yeah, screw this. I'm going to see the eclipse. Once in a lifetime experience. Yeah, and then we drove back. And then I'm pretty sure we had that car around through the remainder of the semester, through when Jared Cole graduated. Which was like a couple weeks. Wait, no. Or was it the other way around? I don't remember entirely what happened there. I think that's how it went down, though. How did I start talking about the eclipse? Alright, because Easter, yeah. Easter is next weekend. Late Easter this year. I think. Yeah, whatever. But yeah, then... Right, because, you know, like... Right, actually, the reason why my parents decided to let us, you know, have that car here is because my mom then got, like, a new car a couple weeks later. That's why. I was like, wait, that seems like an awful... Oh, right, no, because that was right around the time my mom got a new car. Now, she didn't have that car when we took the car that we had back, or when we drove that car back out here. But she had that by the end of the school year. Yeah, that was a fun thing, because after, well, move out. Move out was a ordeal because my brother was graduating, so he obviously moved out after graduation, but I had to move out before. And my last final was annoyingly close to, like, it's like one of the last final slots. I hate having a class at that time. I lucked out not having a class at that time this semester. But next semester I have a class at that time. That's probably gonna have a final. And then we'll see about that. We'll see what's happening next. But given the way that the computer science department here likes to schedule classes, I'm almost certainly going to have to take a class at that time, because there are, like... I mean, it is hard to take 4 classes. I find it hard to take 4 classes sometimes, because there's just too many time slots, or there's not enough variance in time of when they schedule these classes. Now, part of that's because, like, when the professors want to teach these classes or whatever. But even then, next semester, not only have I ended up with the class in the bad time slot, but I've also ended up with a class that runs through that's Monday, Wednesday, Friday at an unusual time in the morning. Time that's usually reserved for entry-level classes, but the decidedly upper level class, it's got like a 400. It's in like the 400s. They decided to schedule it there. The thing is, I was talking to the person who's teaching that class, and he had no idea that it had actually been scheduled for that time slot until I was telling him about it. He was like, wait, what? It is weird. Very weird. We'll see how that actually ends up working out. That does annoyingly mean that next semester I'm going to have to get up early on Fridays. It's been nice being able to sleep in on Fridays. Last semester and this semester. Whole year went by without me having a single Friday class. Miracle. But of course Friday classes come back to haunt me eventually. Not a big deal though. I don't entirely remember my class schedule. It's also gonna be weird. A lot of stuff's gonna be weird next semester. But hey. Oh, I can hear myself think. The rain stopped. Yeah, a lot of stuff's gonna be weird. Things are changing. Who knows if the world will even exist at this time next year? Am I right? I mean, in the fall. Let's be real. Iran could start a nuclear war at any point in time. Who knows? I mean, I don't actually think Iran has nukes, but you know, if Russia on Iran's behalf starts a nuclear war, which I also don't think they would do that, but you never know. They could just change their policy, because most countries have for the few nations in the world that have nukes, usually their policy is nukes only get used in response to us being attacked first. There is the odd we will nuke first that comes out, and then there's France, who we will nuke if we think you might nuke us in the future. France is a preventative nuclear attack, which is wild, but okay, France, if you say so. Then again, we do not know what Israel's nuclear policy is, because they do not officially have nuclear weapons. I mean, they have nukes, let's be real. They definitely have nukes. But because they do not officially claim to have nuclear weapons, they also do not officially have a nuclear weapons use policy. And again, who knows if America's nuclear weapons policy will change. I don't think it will. I think it'd be... Oh. do not... Oh. I thought they removed that. Okay. Well, I guess if you do have... If you do fly into a ladder, I guess you still can just fly down the ladder like that. What I was confused about there is back... I don't remember when they changed this. I'll say in 1.13 back when... It might have been 1.14 or 16 when they changed this. But back in the day, if you were climbing a ladder... No, I think it was 1.14. Yeah, because I think it was when they added crouch or crawling. Which isn't entirely related to this, but I'm pretty sure that was the same time. If you had an if you were wearing Elytra and were climbing a ladder, pressing space would activate the Elytra, and you would then just fall straight down the ladder in flight mode. That used to be a thing. Like if you had wings on and wanted to quickly descend a ladder and bear the consequences thereof, you could just fly down. But they removed that in 1.14 in favor of the current system where pressing space climbs the ladder because. And this is related to specifically vines, or maybe this was 1.16 actually. Oh god, it could be either of them. Anyhow, because specifically with a vine, actually 1.16 makes more sense because they had those nether vines. With a vine, they're not necessarily on a support block, so if you wanted to be able to climb up those without having to be smashing your face into a wall, you need a new system, so pressing space to climb up. Doing that changed the behavior of climbing a ladder, obviously, and thus removed that falling feature. But why I was confused is because I was obviously flying down that ladder. Because I think I'd activated flight mode before heading over to the ladder. So weird, so weird. Beep, beep. We are slowly getting there. Could I be building this faster? Almost certainly, but I feel like this still goes at a relatively decent pace. This isn't, again, not a particularly hard thing to build, just large in scale and numerous in numbers. Okay, just like looking at this, if it takes me about an hour to build each tower, there are 33 of these. That is 33 hours. That is more than a whole day of my life that I'm wasting building these things. Not again. I definitely spent over 20... I definitely think I spent more than 24 hours building the industrial rail system in Season 5. So, fair trades. Fair trades. Also, yeah, I think I mentioned this, but this is entirely the reason why I'm not going to be doing any Coolcraft episodes over the next couple weeks. Well, that and Easter, of course, so I'm not going to have time to do any video production for next weekend. But, once again... time off to where's the red bits on box? A bit of time off to be able to, spend time on a project and also do some other things here and there. Dang. I have no idea what else to say. Well, I'll think of something at some point to talk about. Oh yeah, if anybody's watching this, something I'll ask is, have you seen that the last video I posted on my second channel of my game's development? I did some pretty cool things. I figured out how to rotate things. Generally, relatively easy. I do have, well, the system's not entirely perfect. Considering I haven't done anything with the other, degrees of freedom that you can do with the objects. Once they're rotated, changing their size, those don't move around. Actually, I think I found a weird bug where one of the resizing in one specific direction doesn't update for some reason. I don't understand how or why, but it just doesn't. What's the other? Oh yeah, and other than that, like the actual direction that you have to move stuff in doesn't update properly. I do kind of have an idea for how I can do that, and I've actually kind of planned that in there. Well, partially it was an attempt to make rotating stuff easier. It turned out to not be the correct idea for that, but hey. It's going to come in very much handy in the future. As the next thing I implement... the next thing I'm going to do, which, if I remember correctly, is going to be the only other thing I'm doing before I'm actually creating the next couple levels. Possibly. Actually, anyhow. The next thing I'm going to do is going to really take advantage of some of the modularizations and abstractions that I added recently. And I'm not necessarily talking about the whole registration of objects things. That is useful, actually, very much useful. I think that system is going to make like the various systems way easier to work with in the future. And is a little bit more like how Minecraft does it. To be fair, I don't know entirely of how Minecraft's registry system works. Like, I've had to use it for mods, but I don't entirely know how it works. Because I know, like, you pass in, like, an entry and an identifier, typically, to the Minecraft registry system. But I don't entirely know how things work internally. Like, how do you read just like a list of things from the registry? I don't know. My registry system, I guess, is in many ways a bit more obtuse. Also, I found out later that you can like I actually don't know what this technique is called, but where you put like thing : something else, or class name : member method. Or field? I think it's just methods though, which it does include constructors. I like only half understood how those work. Apparently, those can just fit if that conforms to any like lambda. Then that makes sense because built into Java, there's the function interface, which can be. So built into Java, you have the function interface, which constructors can conform to. Technically, any method really can, but specifically constructors. But I could have just, instead of using the complex function and then specifying the types, I could have made my own interfaces. Well, I mean, I did make some of my own interfaces for some of the parameters for registration, so that you could use the lambda expression to, like, for instance, define the icon, or define how the icon for something is drawn in the level creator. Was that it? I feel like I had another one in there that... Oh, yeah. Define how the icon is drawn and also define how a preview looks. I could modularize that stuff in some other ways. Like, I really should change how, like how triangles or how slopes are entirely done. Because I've added, because currently because of the way slopes are just like internally use their variables differently than other ground components in the game, I believe. So I had to add like hard-coded special cases. Never a good idea, never a good thing, by the way. For the creation of them, so that the parameters would be supplied in a different order. What I really should just be doing for that, though, is I should just man up and change the constructor to expect things in the common like way that they're passed in, and you know, calculate what the correct result of that, or the correct result would be, because yeah, you can extract the information that I want, but like, yeah, it's different. But with some of the recent abstractions I've made, it will allow me to just straight up use the slope class in the same way I would other stuff, just by overloading some of the functions that I've put in recently. And this is why in encapsulation you should, even if you should not access variables directly, and instead you should be using functions to access them, because you might end up in a very weird special case like this, where things are actually meaning, where data is stored slightly differently within the same variables / encoded slightly differently, and you won't be expecting that, so it wouldn't work properly in all of your things. I understand that now. For the most part, though, I mean, yes, modularization, definitely a good idea. One thing I definitely want to try doing, which is really hard with how I've architected a lot of things, is I want to stop passing around a reference to the main class to many, many things. Many things do currently have that, for various reasons, and it's very hard to remove them. Like, the one thing, for instance, that a stage, or that the current, actually each stage component instance currently does get a reference to the actual to the main class, because what it well, originally it was so that I could render stuff, but I figured out the correct way to like encapsulate that. So it's not rendering, it's the issue. But currently what it's used for is accessing the level groups, because I don't know how I'm going to change that to work correctly. It's because it globally accesses the current set of groups to figure out what the current object should, or the current component should be doing. But I need to change it so that it's, you know, smarter and doesn't or smarter, it can somehow not sustain a reference. There's other things like the button class. This is actually going to be very hard to do stuff, because, you know, for the most part, I could just, instead of having to pass in a reference to the main class, a lot of things could just be, okay, pass in a reference to the renderer, or the graphics object. In a lot of situations, that's probably what I'm going to end up doing, because a lot of times when things need a reference to the main class, it's just so that they can render stuff. And to make that more modular, I've already started doing this with shadows, because I needed to actually render things to things other than the primary render past the renderer instead of the main class. The problem with buttons is, buttons do things that actually directly interact with variables only available to the main class, like what the current mouse position is, or what the current state of the keyboard is, and you can't get that stuff from the renderer, I don't think. And it certainly would be very annoying to, instead of just calling, is the mouse currently hovering over this button, having to pass the mouse coordinates into that. Oof, that would be so annoying. So yeah, a lot of the user interface stuff, for now at least, is going to have to continue holding a reference to the main class, which is very much annoying. I don't know how to and again, I don't entirely know what the best way to encapsulate that would be without adding a lot of extra work of having to pass in things like the mouse position, and for like the text box, what key is being pressed down. Because part of the point of how everything's architected is you don't have to deal with that. Maybe this is just like a good maybe it's just straight up time to move to just having everything as like, okay, instead of the is-mouse over function, we just have the on-click lambda, or the on-click lambda expression that will call when, you know, the button's been clicked. I don't think that would be a good idea, because that would also require re-architecting a lot of the code. But it's been just so convenient having a single function of the mouse to call to check if the mouse is currently hovering over it. I don't know, maybe I'll think of something where I'm like, okay, well, if we do this, we can actually, you know, safely pass around, well, besides like having to, you know, either pass the mouse position in or having some other sort of global object that holds holds information about the keyboard and whatnot that I have to manually update. Actually, I could, if I did have an object like that, I could just have a static reference within all buttons. Well, no, actually, I wouldn't want a static reference within all buttons. I want a single instance of that object that gets passed around to all buttons. Because we have obviously the two separate displays that both use the button class. You know, being efficient. Ah, crap. Out of concrete for this one. Oh yeah, but we have two separate display surfaces that'll have different mouse positions and keyboard states that both use common user interface. Common use. The only thing they share is the button. Okay, I haven't done anything to the toolbox window to make that actually like a responsive UI. Like I've put in a bunch of effort. I need to put in more effort to various places. But put in a fair amount of effort to make the UI of the main game responsive to screen size changes, making it so the UI doesn't look stupid. The one place where I've currently failed at that and cannot be bothered to fix it is multiplayer, because I built that to be okay. Okay. That's very annoying. My mom is texting the family group chat about Easter dinner. I don't know entirely why I'm in this group, this specific family group chat, because dang it, I'm out of red concrete. Back I go. Very irrelevant to me, but now other family members are going to be replying with what they're bringing to Easter dinner. Anyhow. What was I talking? Oh yeah, my game. Stuff like that. Yeah, the buttons are I forgot what I was talking about. Dang it! Or I forgot specifically what I was talking about. I was thinking of how I know I was thinking about something with how I could abstract the buttons and whatnot, but yeah. So passing around a single instance to all the buttons, specific. Oh yeah. No, I remember. Okay, so multiplayer. Oh boy. The way I designed that only barely made me jump. The multiplayer UI, I designed it differently from basically everything else because it was before my properly responsive UI system, and I was trying out a new way to make stuff responsive. So instead of defining things in hard-coded coordinates and stuff, I designed everything as is relative to the size of the screen, which is I mean, it kind of works, but also kind of doesn't, because the so I mean, technically yes, when you resize the screen, the UI, the actual lines and stuff, they'll move correctly to, proportionally the same size. However, crap. So yeah, they all move the same size. However, the buttons don't get the memo because I think I have upgraded the buttons to be UI scalable. But the way the button scales, they don't just raw scale with screen size or anything. They scale with the screen size compared to aspect ratio. It's not really easy to describe in that way, but basically the scale is constant to the aspect ratio. Basically, that's what I was saying, and the buttons respond to that. I actually don't even remember if the buttons in multiplayer do properly scale. Maybe I didn't even make those properly scaling. I just got to bring the whole thing onto that system, basically. It will make the edges of the screen look weird, I will admit. But actually, I was inspired for the current UI system that most of the game runs with. I was kind of inspired by how Minecraft does it, though Minecraft is kind of weird with how it does it as well. Because Minecraft, when you're resizing it has very discrete sizes for the user interface, but only when specific size for an aspect ratio has been met does it actually scale up. Because if you scrunch, why am I doing that on the screen? If you take the windows like this and you scrunch it like this, the UI suddenly gets tiny, but it's still in the center. I tried to kind of emulate that, except whereas Minecraft does it in extremely discrete steps. You know, you've got the GUI scale variable. It's kind of messing with that if you're on auto. Even then, not really, but I just, instead of doing it in weird discrete steps, I just did mine entirely continuously, based off of whatever you set for the or whatever your aspect ratio ends up being. It scales that, or it'll properly scale to that, no matter how much of a irrational number your no matter how irrational the scale value turns out to be, it will figure out what the correct value is, and then the whole UI will just theoretically adapt. At least the way I've written most things is when they render, they check first if the UI scale has changed since the last time they were rendered. If it has, then they resize themselves, and then they draw properly. Now for buttons, this can be a little bit of a chore because the way buttons work, one of the big features, the really early features for the button was that you don't need to specify a text size for it. It will figure out the best size it can to I can talk. I can definitely talk right now. Yeah, for the buttons, they figure out what the largest size the text can be to fit. In some ways, it does make the menus where there's a lot of different buttons with different size text and each of them look a little strange, I admit. I might add a thing. Oh, hey, we're at the top of this one. Nice. But in a lot of ways, it can make that look weird, so I might, in the future, make like a max, or suggested relative text size, or pre-scaled text size, or whatever. Actually, yeah, the scale isn't directly factored in. It'll just be like, okay, I think it just like starts at like a small text size and then slowly makes it bigger until the like length of the text would go outside the bounds of the button. Then it's like, okay, a little bit less than that is what we got. It's a very inefficient process, admittedly. All right, now I need to get the shulker boxes for this. Right, it's all the way over this way. That's kind of annoying. All right, let's put it all away. Put all the junk in my inventory away. I really don't need both of these. Okay, I'm almost through this one shulker box, or partial shulker box collapse, and this time we're gonna actually put that away. And red concrete. Wait, cool. All right, now that's all the shulker boxes taken care of. We stick them all in here. Now back I fly to the, with my last rocket, I fly back to the snow factory to pick up these minecarts. Aha! Oh, it's actually still running. Why is there a oh no, there's repeaters and redstone in the, oh fuck. Gotta get more rockets out. Hey, something fucked up with the chunk loading here, I can tell. Turn it off! Turn it off! Yeah, that happens right here. Now why do I have random redstone components in my inventory? Now clearly the minecarts are fine. Okay, who's broken and why? You two. You two are broken. How? I thought we were past this thing breaking! I think it's only those first two that are broken. All the other snow golems seemed to be alive. Okay. Wonder where those boats went. Crap. Well, I guess we're fixing this now. least impressed that it somehow didn't blow up the slime blocks this time. I don't know how that kept happening. But yeah, this is, I guess, mostly where that came from. Hopefully that didn't wash out. Yeah, I don't think that washed out any of this. Or this. Thank goodness. Yeah, okay. I think the shulker crafter here is fine. I'll go look at this other one now. Yeah, I need to go back to my base to get more blue ice then, because I obviously don't have any of this. Oh, and I also need to get more snow golem resources, of course. This one, because I know this one could be very messy when it runs out. I protected this. I put like obsidian here. Oh crap! It's washed out the entire gosh dang thing. That's actually way worse than I thought it was going to be from. Okay. Are there any other repeaters laying around? I thought it was just going to leak towards the sides. Those are fish, not items. There's a drowned there. Oh, crap! Wait, no, hang on. I thought I saw something there now. Oh, this is bad. Pretty fucking bad. Yeah. So I don't see any additional, like, items in the water here. This chunk loader seems to still be functional. Yeah, at least it didn't, like, you know, fall down or whatever, but, crap. I don't know how that happened. Like, it was running fine for a couple of weeks, no problem, and then I come back here now and it's... Chunk loading has failed. Well, I can fix the redstone right now, because I'm actually prepared for once. I have a redstone box. I hope this is enough repeaters and stuff. But I have a redstone box in my ender chest, so I can quickly do little redstone fixes. Yeah, not seeing any items down here or anything. It could also be that so either the items probably got either exploded or just washed out and maybe despawned. Weird, some of those items were still around. Oh, the boat survived on this one, but the golems didn't. Anyhow, back in we go. Well, this has unexpectedly changed things. Okay, I had enough repeaters. Thankfully, only this got washed out then. Why don't I have a schematic for this? What in the hell? Did I build this thing when I was at home? Okay, actually we have another okay, Vortex. There we go. So quick, okay, we got more we got identical modules right there. It's fine. Put. Oh shit! I just turned it on. Oh crap! Just washed it away again. I just fixed that. No! But gosh dang it! I just fixed that. Oh, this thing. Yeah. That was a bad location to place that shulker box. I actually did not know that shulker boxes cut redstone signals though. That's, you know, interesting. Oh no, this one's also broken. Fuck! Where'd this repeater go? Come on, it was right here, guys. Okay, actually, where did this repeater go? It was right here. Like... I'm actually kind of annoyed right now. Okay, I think this one is actually fine. It didn't hit anything, thankfully. Okay, but like, where in the heck is my repeater? I can take like one of the repeaters out of here, but like, I swear I put that repeater back. Alright, let's go get some, Whoa! Did all the snow golems just die? What? How? Why? Oh. Fuck! And these are all broken now. Ah! Let's get sleep here so I can come back here when I leave the end. Just fucking great. The entire cell factory's broken now. Just fucking great. Items going missing left and right. All the snow golems are dead now somehow? Ugh. Doesn't make any fucking sense. I need blue ice. Couple stacks of that. Need pumpkins. Hopefully that's enough. That should be enough. Honestly, we got snow there. Need boats. Resources for boats. That will do. Well, it has completely derailed the stream. Not like I was running replay mod or anything either, so I can't like figure out what happened there. I mean, it's probably due to me activating the thing quickly and then deactivating it. But I was relatively certain that there wasn't any issues, or that activating and deactivating doesn't cause any issues. Here, let me go to spectator mode here so I can observe the scale of damage. Okay, I don't think any of this redstone got washed away. This one's fine. This one, not all of these are completely damaged, but I think because there was only one cycle, it didn't actually damage things. All right. Well, step one is place the ice. Stream is probably going to be a slight bit longer now. Yeah, unfortunately, with the way I built this, yeah, the TNT, if there was no snow on top of the ice, the TNT can't actually break the ice, unfortunately. Maybe if it was precisely, if the dropping of the TNT was timed precisely. I don't remember where it was. I think I got this already. Yeah, okay. Yeah, maybe if the dropping of the TNT was timed precisely, then I could have made it drop or explode slightly higher, still destroying a bunch of the snow, but not destroying any, or not able to blow up the ice at all. Just going through and making sure these are all fine. Okay, now I gotta check. Ooh, it's hard to check. Can I go into spectator mode and check these things? Yeah, okay. See if... Oh, this one's full. Ready to be moved on with. See if any of these things have a boat in them. We do have that one boat. Aha! A boat! So that one has a boat in it. Only this one. Now, retrieving that is going to be a big old pain in the ass because, of course, that's going to want to go... Okay, well, apparently it's also a pain in the ass to traverse this. Yeah, I admit, I did not really think of traversing this in survival. I did a little bit think of building it, like I made sure there were corners like this and such, but I did not necessarily think about, I think it's this one. Oh, hey, that was actually quite convenient. Okay. This is that. And we'll place you back. Alright. Well, that's the only boat that survived that. Let's steal the boat out of this shulker box, and actually we'll steal the snow out of here too. We're gonna need snow blocks. Thankfully very abundant around here. To rebuild all these snowmen. Of course, we do have the one boat that actually survived. Somehow this boat survived its own its own catastrophic event that happened before all the others. Alright, so that boat's already perfectly aligned. We don't have to worry about that. That's another thing. These boats, they have an alignment that they have to have. They're not, like... So we gotta move them forwards a smidge. One way we can tell that it's working is we gotta break the snow there. Once the snow golems... Once both snow golems are in... See? That's not far enough forwards, somehow. Like, these blocks... This also means, then, waste of snow, because now I have to go back in here, nudge it forwards a slight bit. Did not mean to throw that. Do that. Wait, really? That doesn't give you the... Okay, I should know that. I should know that. There, see, there, that works. And after this, I have to make a crafting table, and... Give me that, give me that. Perfect. Give me the crafting table. So that I can, a bunch of boats. I still also don't know how that initial breakage happened. Man, and you know, I can't think of any like way to like detect a breakage automatically within this system. That's another issue, because if I could detect a breakage, I could then just send a signal, hey, fuck, shut her down, guys, something's wrong. But, because the system has no idea if it's broken. It just assumes that it's all built correctly. I don't think that's, good. What's annoying is that when you turn, it does actually move you forwards a tad. Very annoying. It doesn't actually turn about the boat center. It's actually a bit in front of the boat center. That's not how we build snowboat. Bam. Perfect. So it is also crazy how a thin layer of snow provides enough blast resistance to completely prevent this ice from being obliterated. Boop. that's good, that's good. Okay, cool. I need 3 more boats. Three. Why was I going to build another one? Okay, good. Okay. 2 more, and then we'll hopefully not have to touch this again. Again, I don't know. I'm still also though confused as to why this thing broke here in the first place. If I were to redesign this farm, I'd probably try to make it significantly more blast resistant. Or, you know, destruction resistant, right? Like, I mean, one thing I could do to, like, for each segment to make sure at least that the snow golems have arrived at... Crap. To make sure that the snow golems have arrived at the end, one thing I could do is I could put, like, tripwires in. Hopefully those wouldn't get blown up, but... Yeah, okay. Yeah, I could put in, like, tripwires at the ends to actually detect the arrival of the golems, and... If the golems aren't detected at the end, they'd be like, hang on a second. You can't continue, you're broken. Alright, well, hopefully with this... I totally missed that. Alright. Hopefully with this, the whole farm is fixed. I'll put all this crap back in my storage system. Oh, and I totally missed. Wow, that just took a lot off my health without it actually making a sound. Somehow. Put the blue ice back in here. And just dump everything else into the storage system. And then we turn the machine on. And then we can roll out on the minecarts. Like I was trying to do. Like 10 minutes ago. Yeah. Oh, shut up, zombies. Very obnoxious. But far enough away where they actually don't cause me problems when sleeping there. Miracle! Magic! Alright. Turn this thing on, go into spectator mode to watch it for a moment. Let's look at the chunk load. We'll also look at the chunk loaders as well, because I'm sure they were somehow at fault here. Because that stuff doesn't just happen. Okay. Alright. Looks like it's working. Just make sure that... Yeah, that one seems like it's working, and I think that would have been the one that would have broken. Yeah, this one's also working. I'm seeing items flying back and forth. So the whole system's working. I don't know why it broke. Hopefully it doesn't break again. That's just an empty shulker box now. And we're just thought. I don't think I set the minecart track properly. Which means I gotta fly all the way back out there to set it, and then come right back to turn the minecart, to activate the minecart. So that's fun. Alright, well, once I get these shulker boxes in, I think that'll be about it, because, gosh. And this is is a lot of things here. Yep, I don't want to be sending these carts down to the one that's already completed. I do think, though, it was definitely a good call to put this over the ocean. Nice, empty, flat area here. without much to disturb. Maybe we chose a great place in terms of not putting it on top of ocean monuments. Would have been annoying. Not really a gigantic issue, but annoying. There's like one ocean monument specifically on this side of that, but one ocean monument on each side of the this. Let's make sure nothing's broken here. Alright. Everything seems completely fine. Hopefully it stays that way. Minecarts, roll out. Or stage that a little bit. Alright, the minecart sounds are quite loud when I'm wearing headphones, at least. I don't have too much of an issue with minecarts when I'm, you know, just on speakers, but I guess on headphones they can be a tad bit loud. Strange, very strange. Also, I mean, obviously minecarts get really loud when we're like doing gold farms that involve entity cramming, but yeah. Oh yeah, fun thing about the gold farms is that they finally changed the, actually made that change to zombie piglin to make them not drop XP if they're just aggroed on you and you didn't attack them. That bug, which has been in the game for a long time, they said they were fixing it, or they tried to fix it originally 1.16, but reverted the change because people were mad, and they're like, okay, we'll give the community time to build gold farm designs that don't rely on this mechanic. And I did. That's why I haven't built the El Mango Donut or Donut XP farm since season 2, because you know they said they were going to remove it. So all the gold farms that I've built for since season 3 have all been manual based. But you know, just in some extent, it's like, that's less nice, but you do get more gold out of them. So, but yeah, they said they were fixing it to 1.16. They ended up fixing it in January, and I think at the spring drop that happened at like the end of March, I think that finally had the fix in it. We're probably, I think, updating to that version once this project here is completed. I don't particularly know what improvements I would be looking for in a newer version of Minecraft. Because, you know, we have like the creaking or whatever in bundles, but I don't really care. That stuff, not very interesting to me. Also, with the new update system that they've been testing in the game with game drops that are more frequent or whatever, yeah, they're a little bit underwhelming, but you know, bump. It's honestly to be expected. But I really hope that in the background there's a few developers who are working on the next big major update to the game that's going to change everything. But you know, they're just, you know, silently working on it in the background, no public attention until they're ready to show it. Because, and I mean, when I've heard people like offer this as a theory before, I've been surprised about how people just don't believe that that's possible, that they have spare developers who aren't working on these game drops working on something else for the distant future. Because I will have you know, guys, there are people, like, it's obviously there are developers of Mojang who are working on game drops for later this year that aren't just the one with the happy gas. They are working on more distant updates to the game. Oh crap! Than just like the happy gas right now. Even if it is just game drops, there definitely are developers who are working on stuff that isn't just the latest game drop. So I think the next major update is definitely in development, and they're going to take their time, make sure it's perfect, make sure, you know, fans are going to be happy, and that the whole thing comes out in a single update instead of, you know, 3 updates. 3-ish updates. And in the meantime, we're going to get these small little features like fireflies and the freaking leaf petals or whatever that go on the ground. Such useless crap that I don't care about. Leaf litter, that's what it is. That's what it's called. And random particles that just every leaf is now just gonna have these stupid leaf particles coming out from them, and they're like, I don't know, it's weird. They're not necessarily directly related to the. I mean, I think they should. What I think it should be, I mean, potentially they should combine the biome color for the leaf with the actual like color sampled from the leaf texture. That's how those should work. I don't think that's how that works, because I think they are just like their own texture that gets colored based off the leaf. So if you like change the texture of, say, birch leaves to be like neon blue or whatever, the leaves that drop, the little leaf particles aren't gonna change at all. A little bit annoying, but you know, what are you gonna do about it? Yeah. Although I will say, the Happy Ghast does really seem like it'd be very useful for building like sky islands that have a detailed underside. Because, did I help? Okay. Because, I mean, yeah, just having a mobile platform that you can adjust to your liking and stand on, it's like, that seems very useful. And heck, if we end up getting it on this season, I will find a way to get one of those over to my base. And then maybe I'll build the underside of my base. I wasn't planning on doing that, but maybe I will. Does my base deserve that? Probably not. I mean, actually, yeah, I probably won't do that, never mind. Because, like, the sewer system that I rarely use is down there. To be fair, my base isn't large enough to where I would be using it. Once I actually start doing more projects in my base and stuff, it'd be good to use. Actually, maybe I should put, like... Nah, actually, that'd be too far away from my storage system to work. I was thinking, okay, maybe I put one of those sewer grates over on that end island that I'm building off of, but that'd be too far away from my storage system, and the items actually wouldn't get to my would not get to my storage system correctly. Or it's out of render distance, so yeah, the chunks wouldn't be loaded, and that's kind of annoying. Also, just looking out here over the ocean, remembering the glory days when your render distance was actually square and not circular. Or you know, you'd actually render stuff in like a square and stuff. Because I remember back 1.13 and before, come on, get through this gap. The way the world was rendered was, or the way it worked, is if your render distance was higher than the server render distance, then your client, well, a couple things. One, your client would actually like continue to render chunks outside of the server's render distance if it had them in its memory. Obviously, they wouldn't update or anything, but it allowed you to like still be able to see larger portions of like the land or of like a giant area that you were building in, even though the server's render distance was lower, but also it was square, so like you could see the edges of the render distance. Or you could see like all the way to the edge and not have like things be cut off when the world, or when the, you know, edge of things happened. I remember that in Season 1 I often would use that to view my entire base. By the end of the season I couldn't do that anymore. So I remember I'd like fly around a bit, or fly around over to places a bit so that they would load in, and then I'd go back to like the one central point that I wanted to see everything from. Not possible anymore, but because my render distance is well higher than the server's render distance. And actually, I would make my render distance, or I would make the server's render distance higher, because I don't think that'd be a problem. Especially now that simulation distance has been completely decoupled. I would make that stuff farther, but Come on, come on. Okay. Yeah, but the network, that would involve sending a lot more data over the network, which I don't think it can handle, honestly. Spectrum gives us like a pittance of upload as is, so like, I don't know why I'd want to subject us to like just waiting around for the chunks to slowly load. Although sometimes if there's not much in it, like it's just empty ocean, I have had a situation where the chunks were loading extremely fast. And I was on Wi-Fi at that point as well, so I was like, whoa, what's going on here? Server's super performance, which usually doesn't happen. Come on. Wow, we've gone quite far up so far. Was just about to try to start flying up there, and then I realized, wait, I don't have rockets on me. I can't fly. Are you crazy? And really, it does still take a hot second to actually place all these shulker boxes in. But it definitely is faster than if we had just been using the minecarts. Or if we hadn't used the minecarts, it's definitely way faster. Time saving, that I don't even know, as I haven't even tried timing it. Also saving, because look at my Elytra, that's just from the stream basically. It was basically full health before the stream. What I should do is I should go through. Once I've done building, before I go through and breaking all the shulker. Actually, when I go through breaking all the shulker boxes, I should go through and put like trapdoors on both sides of these. Now, obviously, every time a redstone pulse gets sent up that will cause the trapdoors to flap, but that is quite frankly not my problem. Crap. That's the worst possible place I could have put it in that situation. Alright. Almost done here. Getting right the way down there. Okay. Now I have to go right back to the other side of this thing for this one frickin'... Come on. There we go. Stupid server client desync there. It's like, no. You're not actually, flying because you didn't jump properly. It's like, no, but I am. But you're not. Oh, that time it got it real easily. Okay. Now that's heard me complaining. It's like, okay, fine, you can do it. Oh, okay. Wait, did I put in the leaves and defense post up top on this one? No, I didn't. I gotta do that. Okay, well. More forgetty. God, this is a mammoth project. Why am I undertaking such things? Well, but it would go by much faster if people were helping me here. Too bad I don't know where Jaredy is, otherwise I would have tried to rope him into coming on here and helping me. We would have probably doubled what we get done in the stream. Because, two people building two separate things, it's like literally twice the speed. Bam, bam, bam. Okay. Okay, oh wait, I'm empty, okay. I think we're on to the last chest, right here, if I remember correctly. Here, let's just... I actually have no idea which one I just grabbed from. If that was the last one, yay, we're almost done here. After, you know, almost 25 extra minutes than when I was thinking I might go. I mean, to be fair, the breaking of the Snow Factory really does that. Causes unnecessary delays and increase in stream length. Oh yeah, we're basically done. Okay. So after I get that stuff on the top done, we'll be able to call this one quits. Alright, final one. Here we go. I don't have an annoying little thing in the center to cause me problems. There we go. Now, put that, put the, it's magenta, this one. Put this stuff, wait, no. Come on. There we go. Oh, wait. Yeah, no, actually we did. Crap! I did not. I gotta get my pickaxe! Okay, now we go over so we can... No, I actually do not care about the cobblestone at all because it's cobblestone. It is literally just a building block that I have, you know, infinite quantities of. Whee! Oh, there's a train fellow down there. I heard that. Don't think I didn't. I hear what? Yeah, okay. Take everything, put it in my inventory. Get all my things back in order. Then we'll take the minecarts. Oh, wait, is this guy still aggro on me? It's the daytime! You're not supposed to aggro on me in the daytime. Should have just enough space here for all the minecarts. Perfect. One slot to spare, in fact. Alright. That's, it's been quite a process there. I'll say it because we're basically at the end here. I'm surprised the network hasn't had an issue at all today. Wow! The inconsistencies here never cease to amaze me. But yeah, so, flying back. It's 1,000 blocks in each direction from here about, so, you know, takes a hot second to get there. Let's go up here and make sure this thing isn't broken again. Alright, everything looks good. Alright, well, put these... So evidently, if I am just continuously building, I do actually, it is actually necessary to have this farm, have all this built up storage, as the farm actually does not produce as fast as I can place or utilize all the shulker boxes. That is extremely good to know. But anyhow, I'm going to get away from this a little bit. So, with that, I'm going to say thank you all for watching. Hope you've enjoyed. Please leave a like on the stream if you on your way out. And subscribe. Check out my game, which is linked in the description. And I will see you all on the next live stream, video, whatever. Bye! Now we got to go quickly.